Did you know Variety, the children's charity, is the entertainment charity started by a group of show business people who found an abandoned baby in a theatre way back in 1928. These kind-hearted performers raised so much money to help the lost child that they began helping other children, and Variety, the children's charity, was born. Read the full story and support the entertainers charity that supports kids in need today. Visit variety.org.au. You're listening to the School of Hard Knock Knocks podcast with me, Maury Morgan.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian.
Shouldn't drink on an empty head, you know that, don't you?
That is the shittiest heckle I have ever heard in my life.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What's a bucket list?
You have dangerously underprepared yourself for the shit that is about to get real.
A lover of American comedians and a successful Green Card Raffle meant it was New York, not Melbourne, that helped hone Australian Kelly Fastuca's comedy skills. Not knowing anyone in her adopted country, Kelly did what most Aussies do when abroad and said g'day to everyone. Because as you'll hear, she didn't know any better. In this School of Hard Knock Knocks podcast episode, you'll hear how it's important to make friends, no matter which country you're in, what a little embellishing of stories is necessary for comedy, and how cultural differences can make or break a joke and make you look like a racist. Now, here she is, Kelly Fastuca.
It's a 17-hour flight, right? It's a long flight, right? Now 20 minutes into my 17-hour flight, the airline announced that all of our entertainment equipment is broken. So I had 17 hours to sit in a chair and just have a long, hard look at myself. You don't like me that much, I found out. God, I hate myself. It was awful, but it was my own fault. I'm a cocky motherfucker. Right? I was just so excited to finally see Eat, Pray, Love for free. Bring it with me, right? Now, what do you do for 17 hours, right? You get up, you walk around. You can't do that on a flight now, right? It's a security risk. You got to sit down. You can't walk around. I have to walk around on a flight because I'm on birth control and I smoke cigarettes. I'm going to have a stroke in the air. Right? I might die in the air, and I can't die because I don't have any health insurance. So if something bad happens to me, if I get sick, everyone's like, quick, Kelly's sick, what do we do? All I know what to do, just get her some hot water and a prayer. That's all I've got. I've got no money, right? So I start walking around. What happens, right? They're on you straight away. Miss, you're going to have to sit down. You can't walk around. You can't walk around on an airplane like that. Who do you think you are? I thought I was an adult that just paid $2,000 to finally see Big Mama's house too. That's what I thought I was. Right? I apologize. I discovered that I can only do an American accent when I sound like a fucking asshole.
Good evening, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, Kelly. Thank you very much for your time. You're in Melbourne, I believe.
I am. I got back in February, so it's been a while now. I've got no excuses.
In February?
Yeah.
February this year or February?
Yeah. February this year. I kind of got back from America and have been settling back into Melbourne life. Oh,
very good. So it sounds like you're back and forth between the two countries then.
Yeah, kind of. The first sort of 5 years I was there in New York City for full time. And then the last 2 years I came back to do the festival circuit. So Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and then so we'll be here for about 4 months and then go back to America for 6.
Oh, very good, very good. At the beginning of this podcast, we just heard you do a little snippet from a show somewhere in the US. Couldn't quite tell, Gotham City or something?
Yeah, so Gotham Comedy Club is a club that's kind of in the 20s. And I would perform there sometimes.
Yep.
And that was just maybe, I don't know, that tape's probably maybe 3 years old now.
Oh, is it?
I was a brunette, definitely.
You're a brunette. So what are you now? A blonde, are you?
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, I won't recognise you in the street.
No.
You talk about the famous 17-hour flight between Australia and the USA. I mean, it's the reason why there's not more accents in the streets of Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. And I just, because I've done it so many times that I just didn't have anything prepared. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, oh man, this is the best. I'm going to watch all the worst TV. I'm going to watch seasons of crap. It's going to be, and I'm not going to feel guilty because what else am I supposed to do? And then it was,
Yep.
yeah, it was all shut down, and it wasn't just me; it was everyone's.
That sucks. And was it Qantas or was it United?
It was British Airways.
Oh, not even British Airways. British. See, that's the point. They don't even from Australia to. Did they even ask you for directions? I mean, they're British and they're flying from Australia to America.
Well, I'm going to let you in a little secret. When you write a joke, it's good to embellish on a joke. So that was actually a flight on British Airways coming back from London to New York. So it was only a 7-hour flight. But I made it so that it was a Melbourne to LA flight, so that it was longer, it sounded worse, and blah, blah, blah. But,
7 hours,
and it works better. But it works better like that, you know what I mean?
Yep, no, absolutely.
Not every joke has to have all the truth in it.
No, that's right. Yeah, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, as they say.
Exactly.
Well, that's interesting because the people that listen to this podcast, they are up-and-coming comedians and they're always looking for a little advice or, in this case, a good little trick there. You had me fooled. Yeah. Although I did get very confused because you did talk to one of the ladies in the audience and ask her, and you said you flew Qantas and then you had an American accent from Iowa or somewhere. I was like, really? Is Qantas hiring Americans now? Anyway, made me a little confused. But,
yeah.
And it was even British Airways.
Come on, man. Jesus. You got to get some suspension of disbelief.
That's right.
A little bit, you know what I mean? I remember that show because I knew that it was taping. And there's one thing that, is the crux of a comedian is getting a good tape, 5 minutes. Like,
yes.
You can be like, I'm going to get I'm going to tape at this show because it's always a big crowd, a good audience, and they're an easy crowd. And then someone heckles and it's done.
Yep.
Yep. It's really hard. So I knew I was getting a tape at this gig, and there was a group of like 20 Australians in the crowd, and that's why at that one point where I was like, "Shut up, shut up, you got to ruin it," because I knew the tape was working out. Like I knew the set was going well.
Yep.
And that was one to ruin it.
What year was that? Was that 2010?
No, it was later. I think it was 13 or 14.
14.
That particular tape, yeah.
Yep. And you moved, but you did move to America in 2010. Is that right?
Yeah, in 2010. Was it June? I think June 1st, because I got a green card in the lottery.
Oh, you got a green card in the lottery?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. I always wanted to move there.
You applied from Australia?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Or how does it work?
I've always wanted to move to New York, and I studied acting there for a little while, and then figured out, well, I have the green card, let's get this sorted, and then I applied. It only takes like 2 years for it to come through. Yep. So I applied for it, and then 2 years later, I got a letter in the mail.
Wow.
About it, and I was like, oh no, because I had like I had a relationship, and I was like, you know what I mean? I had like a mortgage, I had all this stuff going on, and I was like, oops.
It was like an MCC membership, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and so what happened to that relationship? Did you just drop in?
Well, we tried to do long distance for a while, but that did not work. The one thing about long distance is like, because people are like, it doesn't work. I'm like, it doesn't work. It's not good. They're very very bad. I got very fat when I was in long distance relationship because you eat like someone loves you, but no one sees you naked. So you just don't notice. You don't notice until 8 months down the track they come over.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, hello, and they're like, what happened? I'm like, oh, no, I've got a spare tire.
As long as your face doesn't get fat, I guess, because that's the Skype picture. Everything else can balloon, yeah?
Yeah, well, I guess it didn't because he didn't notice. But also he didn't mind. I did, but I didn't notice until, you get post-coital, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this is not the size I was when you left. This is very weird, so got to keep yourself in check.
How long was that, by the way? How many months or years?
We were together for like 4 years, and then so I moved in June, and he came to visit me in December. So only 6 months.
Okay. Well, you know, Jeff Green, he married this lady, his girlfriend, and I think they were separated for about 2 years, long distance, roughly. And he certainly, obviously, he went back and forth to Australia, but separated, long distance relationship for 2 years. Got married. Anyway, your story is a lot sadder.
Yeah, they worked out.
Yeah. What made you go to America? I mean, what made you decide to get the green card, to apply for the green card to go to America anyway? What was the reason?
I loved America. I loved American comics.
Yep.
I was always I was the biggest, this we're talking 2008, 2009. I was the biggest fan of Louis C.K.
Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, have you still got the T-shirts? You burnt them.
Oh, the king is dead.
Oh, dear me.
And, so that kind of stuff, I loved Bill Burr and Patrice O'Neill.
Yep.
And at a time when, because I remember, my best friend, she went to London when I went to America, everyone normally goes to London to do stand-up, but I was like, nah, I just never felt it, I just kind of really wanted to go to America. So, I don't know, there's something about the culture that I just felt, I felt like my humour was, I had a darker humour that the Brits are kind of, the context and, la, 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 but I was more like, blah.
Well, maybe for New York, not necessarily, say, Arkansas or Tennessee.
Well, definitely New York. I would watch that documentary Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld and the way and just watching him craft jokes from the beginning to the end, just him starting out going, I have no material, and then building up a set. I think that's such a good, such a good lesson, that movie. Yep. And then going and living it, and then going, oh, I understand the hustle of I gotta make my own spot. I got another spot. Let's go.
Yeah, that's funny. So you are in Melbourne now. So you've kept your green card status, I assume.
Yeah, but it's going to be taken away from me because there's all these changes happening. Oh. So it was getting too hard to fight to keep it.
Yeah, right. He's looked at Trump has looked at your surname and said you're a threat to the stability of America or something.
No, it's a bunch of stuff. It's got a lot to do with money and
that thing.
And after a certain amount of time, you have to prove, that you own a house and you own a car and
yes, and you're a comedian. Good God, those are dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also living in New York where no one owns a car and no one's on a lease. Yeah. We all sublease.
That's it. Oh, well, go to Arkansas or Tennessee then. Well, you're back in Melbourne, possibly longer term than expected. How long have you been back?
So, I got back at the beginning of the year.
February, you said, yes.
Yeah, but I guess, I don't know, I can't really, I don't know, I'm working here now and I can't really see myself going back. I miss it, though. There's a lot of stuff about it. I miss the gigs and the people. Yep. But I don't know, let's give Melbourne a go.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, I don't think we're not on the blacklist, are we? We can still travel to America as Australians, right?
Yeah, but, I think so. But I just, in terms of in comedy, I know that being in New York was so much better for my stand-up and for comedy, but I just, it just got hard to stay. It just got hard being there.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you can relate to the new Australians here in Melbourne and Sydney and elsewhere. Right. So you love comedy, you love Louis C.K., you love Bill Burr, and you decided to go to America. But had you already started your stand-up comedy career at that point before you went to the US?
I had. Yeah, I started in around 2007 and I moved in 2010.
Right.
So I'd had a little bit of stuff. I think I did Raw my first year. And
tell us about that. What year was Raw that you did it?
2000, was it 2007? Gosh, I don't know. I think it was 2000. I only did it twice. Mm-hmm. It could have been.
Who won that year? Maybe we can backtrack.
Oh, no, you know what it was? It was 2008 to 2009, and 2009 I'm pretty sure I did. And I'm pretty sure 2008, was it Neil Sinclair, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I only made, I only made the semis. Like, I didn't do very well. Story of my life.
A good lesson to anyone listening. It's not like the VCE or the HSC. Life goes on if you don't happen to get the 99.99 equivalent in Raw.
No, I mean, I've judged a few Raws, and one of those things I kind of say is, like, if you get plucked to be to do well, you do well in Raw and stuff like that, your career can really open up. It's a really amazing thing. However, there's a lot of people that, Nick Cody is a perfect example of someone who, did Raw 3 times, never got anywhere, never got a state final. I remember him doing jokes about poo. Now Nick is, known nationwide, and he's very famous. He's a very, very good stand-up. Like, he has chops, that kid, He's beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't need it.
well, let's talk about that time then. So you didn't make the final. You didn't get your own TV show at the time. Things to come. And when was your first paid gig? When did you go, all right, I can actually see this as a career, and one day I'll go to New York?
I'm pretty sure Janet at the local, when she started booking me, that was the first time I started getting money.
Good.
And then I think about maybe 2 months, 3 months into New York, I got my first. But when I said, like, my first paid gig, I got paid like $7.
Okay, which is at that time possibly a beer and a half.
Oh my God! At the time, I was like, I can't believe it.
$7.
I was like, this is unbelievable. I'm doing it, guys. And now I demand money.
$7.50.
Oh, now I'm like, some people are like, oh, can you host at X amount of money? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been doing it a long, long time, and I can, pull a room up when it needs to happen. I've had to follow, I've had to introduce some pretty terrible comedians, and then I've had to fix, I've had to fix the room afterwards.
Yep. Okay.
And acknowledge, I've had to follow, people, just talking about the most, either sexist or racist shit, and then and then I've got to go, okay, give it up.
Yeah.
We're having comedy. We're having a great time.
Adolf, well done. Congratulations.
It's not easy.
No.
I've been doing it a long time, like hosting. Like, I don't remember the last time I did a normal spot at the local. I only ever host there. And God bless Janet. She's just like, I need a good host. I need someone who can pull it up. Like, if someone bombs, I can, I have a joke to just like slip right in. Boom, boom, boom. Yep.
So you're like the A team, just in one body.
Yeah, except when it comes to just making myself look good. Like, if I have to do a type 5 and try and kill, I find it quite difficult because I just want to go off on a tangent. I did a theatre on Friday, and it was 1,000 people, and it paid $78 a ticket, so you got to really take it seriously.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to not. Like, I had to do the strong rehearsed routine that for me feels quite robotic now.
Yeah.
Some of these jokes are older. I don't do them anymore, but I know they work.
They work.
But yeah, they work. But my mind, especially leading up to Comedy Festival, I'm playing around with so many ideas. And I just, I really want to do this new bit. I want to do this new bit. I want to try this. And it was like, no.
Yeah.
You can't. You need to give it. It's a show that this is not a bar show where you can, where you're working on material. No. You need to perform.
That's right. Well, actually, you alluded to my next question, which is about the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. I know this year and last year you had 2 shows, and I believe this year was called Get Your Hand Off It, the live show, and last year was called Don't Get Up.
That's right. This year I did live podcast.
Yep.
Because I felt like I just didn't have the hour ready.
Okay, right.
And then last year I did Don't Get Up, and then the year before that I had a show called I Need an Adult. I Need an Adult. Excellent. Where do you get your inspiration for comedy from to put into these shows? I feel like whenever there's a time in my life when I roll my eyes, if I roll my eyes and I just go, oh brother, then I feel like that's a perfect, you know what I mean? Like whatever that was, I just need to write it down. Right. And then, just write it down now. Keep doing what you're doing, and then see what happens later. Something will surface. Or sometimes it's like a normal conversation, like I'm just saying something like in conversation on a podcast, and then, and then I will all laugh and I'll go, oh, okay, I think that's a bit. And I didn't mean it, but I think that's a bit. But normally they're the ones that don't work. Normally, like anything that's a conversation or a tweet, I'll try that on stage and it'll bomb. And I'm like, okay.
And how do you get it from that eye-rolling moment into actually material that's delivered possibly to a $75 seat ticket? What's the process?
Oh, God. I don't know. I don't know. It's, some people are so like with comedy writing, A, B = C.
Uh-huh.
You got your setup, you got your punch, and you got your tag.
Okay.
And I've never been able to write that way. I've never been able to go, I walked into a shop and it burnt down to the ground, blah, 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 whatever it was. I just can't write that way. So I just normally write something down and then I find the emotion that goes with it. So I think, like there's like something I'm working on at the moment which doesn't work, but it will one day, is the idea of when you're on the tram and the announcement thanks you for taking the tram.
Okay.
So thank you for taking Yarra trams. And I'm like, bitch, I don't want to be here. I'd be taking an Uber if I could afford it.
Yeah, right.
And there's something about it, and I don't know how to word it. And
right.
But there's something so funny to me about they're thanking me. Like it's like thanking a doctor for, giving me
for being
chemo
sick.
or
Well, you do sound like an ice addict, though. That's there is the risk.
I don't know, man. And that's the thing. This joke, I know, you know what I mean? Like that premise is funny.
Yes.
That's a funny premise, but I don't know how to give it to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've always been like that. I'm a slow writer.
Okay.
The ideas are there, but my writing's slow.
Yep. You do a very good American accent in the. Yeah, the video that I was watching and listening to, you had a great. Who is the character you do? Is she from like Minnesota or Arkansas or?
Yeah, she's a Midwestern mom. It's because when I first moved to America, I was I moved to Chicago first because I was studying at Second City, because and that's the Midwest, where you go in a Boston market and get some chicken and and a biscuit and gravy, and and you just hear these moms on the street that are just like yelling at their kids, like, get in the car, what are you doing? And they're just funny, and I think that accent always stuck to me. But I'm also a parrot. Like whenever I talk to someone with an accent, it comes like I'll accidentally recite it.
Yep.
Or replicate it.
Did you ever offend anyone? Did any Americans get offended that a non-American was playing them up? Or
No, I don't think so. But stuff them. I don't care.
There you go. Good.
I can do whatever I want. Because they make fun of me. People make fun of me all the time. Like, oh, Australia, oh.
Yeah.
I just like, really? Like, this is, like, people were brutal to me because I sounded weird. And they're like, I remember one time I went on a date with a guy and he was like, oh, you're Australian. I bet your relatives are rapists. And I'm like, did you want to get laid or what? Because you're not doing a very good job.
No.
Like that.
Yeah, well, moving on from that topic. So you didn't offend anyone. Was there any confusion as to things that you said that at first Americans didn't get?
Yeah, a bunch, heaps. I had a joke where I was talking about a child's game that people were playing, and so there's a game in America called Telephone that kids play, right?
Yeah, I know this one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then in Australia, we call it Chinese whispers.
Right.
So I was like telling this joke about a bunch of kids playing Chinese whispers, and my friends were like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Oh," and they were like, "Oh, you mean telephone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that must be what you guys call it here." And they're like, "Yeah, that's what everyone only calls it. Chinese whispers sounds terrible. You need to drop it."
Yeah, it does.
And then I remember when I was telling a friend of mine who was also a comic, And I was like, do you know? And then she was like, Chinese whispers. And then when she heard herself say it, she went, oh, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, I lived in China. This is true. I lived in China, Shanghai particularly, for 12 years. I can tell you from experience that Chinese do not whisper when they're on a telephone.
Oh,
it is
boy.
loud.
Someone fire this guy.
Yeah, whoever came up with that was very ironic. Yeah, it's like Italians and charades, I guess. Well, I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? Well, the opposite. People armless charades. Okay, so now moving on to advice for comedians that are starting out, that are thinking perhaps they've already been doing the circuit here, you've been overseas, you've been to the US. What advice would you give to up-and-coming comedians that are about to take that big 17-hour flight, hopefully with in-flight entertainment, to the US or even further to the UK? Well,
first of all, I mean, if you're a new comic, my biggest piece of advice that I always give is to work hard and be kind, because, this is an industry where we give each other, the jobs when it comes to it,
Yep.
If you get a job in television or writing or whatever, just be nice. Like, sometimes I go to gigs and there's new comics. They're people I've never met, and they've probably been doing comedy for 3 months, and they don't even say hello,
Yep.
I just was never like that. I was always in awe of comics that were getting, that were in front of me, and would be like, "Hi, I'm Kelly," and I would introduce myself, and I had to. That's what I did,
Yep.
In America when I got there. I had to. I knew nobody. I had no friends, and I had to introduce myself to people, and
Yeah, right.
it would kind of help me in a way, because I would introduce myself to people that, I was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, I just moved here. Tell me what you know." And they ended up, and these people were actually like really they were important, and they were kind of biggish, And then
and you weren't shy to these, whereas the Americans were.
Yeah, because I didn't know any better, and then you'd get other comics. I remember one time one comic was like, "How do you know so-and-so?" And I was like, "I don't know." I would always turn up at gigs. I would turn up. I'd go to 3 gigs a night and just show up. So people got used to me being around and were nice to me, and then ended up just being friends. And so I used to be friends with all these people that were quite successful, because I was always just hanging around, and then, was hoping it would rub off on me, so to speak.
Yeah, I can understand. Again, going back to my China days, there was I guess in China they call her the Chinese Oprah Winfrey. She lived right next to us. Didn't know her from a bar of soap. She was just a nice lady. My wife, who's Chinese, was wobbly at the knees every time she saw her, but didn't matter to me. So yeah, there you go.
That's funny. But I always say to people like comics and stuff, you never know. I don't know. You want to be a nice human being. You also never know who can help you in the future.
That's right.
I unfortunately see a little bit of arrogance coming from the newer comics.
Yep.
Because they're been doing comedy for 2 months, and they're like, "Oh man, this is a piece of cake," I can do this. And I'm like, "Nah, guys. Talk to me 8 years down the track where you've got no money in the bank and you had to take a temp job just to get yourself through the winter,
Yeah.
It can be pretty rough. But just be kind.
I don't think that's new to comics and up-and-comers today. I've interviewed, in fact, Dave O'Neill had exactly the same thing to say back in the late 80s and 90s, the same thing. Yeah. So nothing's changed in that sense.
I never feel I had some really, the last 2 weeks were awesome. In terms of just gigs, money coming in, and just surviving. And then this week, 3 of my gigs got cancelled. Just, the room chain, blah, blah. I mean, that's $300-400 gone.
Yep. That's right.
So, now I'm like, oh, God, I need something.
Well, I was about to ask you what gigs have you got coming up, but maybe I don't want to rub your nose in it. Aside from the gigs that got cancelled, anything coming up that I know you probably got private stuff going on with the clubs or so on, but any public stuff that you're doing out there that some people could get along to see you?
Well, I would definitely say I normally promote. I'm hosting the Exford next week. I'm hosting Flying Duck tomorrow. So I host a lot. And then I think I would just say go to my website and just see what's up, because I always get things like a few days. And also leading up to Christmas, things are kind of tying up now, and it's getting that kind of quiet. But like the next 2 or 3 weeks, things will be over, and then it will pop up again, after the new year.
So let me help you out with that. So for those that just heard, go to your website. That website is www.kellyfastuca. That's Kelly, FASTUCA.com. No .au. And there is a blonde on that page. I'm looking at it here. Very different from what I saw in New York.
That is correct. And I no AU. I'm the real deal, buddy.
Oh, yeah, international.
That's right.
Fantastic. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, Kelly, they just go to this website and then I think there's a book me. There's a big book me button. Excellent.
That's right. They can just email me and give me money. I'll tell jokes.
In fact, you don't even have to hire you as a comedian. You can just donate. I see that right on your website. Smart.
Yeah, I do a lot of podcasting and stuff. So I'm always like, hey, man, if you like podcasting, give me some money.
Perfect.
So I can pay for the shit.
Yeah, that's it. Get onto Patreon. I believe that's pretty hot. Maybe in the US, maybe not here yet.
Yeah, I know a few people that do it. I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, someone knows. Ask them. Buy them a beer. Well, Kelly, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to catching up with you maybe at the Exford or one of the other clubs around it. Do you have anything planned? I know the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is a while away. Are you planning anything for 2018, Melbourne International Comedy Festival?
Yeah, I got 3 shows.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've got a solo show. There's a variety show that I guest on.
Yep.
For Jodie and Hickey, and then I have a live podcast.
Oh, there you go. Bingo.
Crazy. It'll be nice and busy.
Fantastic. And I guess we'll hear all about that on that website again, www.kellyfastuca.com. Wonderful. Well, Kelly, thank you very much for your time this evening, and I'll definitely get along to see you at one of those events at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, if not earlier.
No problemo. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. See you later.
Bye.